everybody, welcome back to G-Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. Here we are inside the new garage area, and yep, I got my shelving up there, so I'm ready for that long-term survival food package that my friend Bill's going to give me, and I can get that up on these shelves and stored. I also put my other shelving above the door there, like I said I was going to do, and I already put some of my gold panning stuff up there, so remind me to get up there and put that stuff away. I have some air hoses here that I need to get down and coiled, and then I have these hooks that I'm going to screw into the 2x4s underneath here and just hang the hoses on there, so when I need them they're easy to get to. And these boxes can go into the next fire in my fire pit, and I don't waste it. I know cardboard's good in a compost pile, but I have plenty of carbon going into my compost pile, so I burn this, but I also put the ash in my compost pile because we all know that biochar is good for the compost. All right, so anyway, I had to come up with an idea on how I was going to hold that shelf up on this side without having anything protruding too badly that was going to cause a problem. So this is the idea I came up with. Got me some 3/8 carriage bolts and some giant fender washers, and I drilled a hole right on the seam between the two, and that one's right on the T-seam, so it holds both pieces at the same time. And of course that side is on top of the 2x2, so it's all fastened down. And I didn't cut off those bolts yet because I was thinking, I could always put a coupler nut on those and then put some type of a little unit hang on there so that I could just hook something on there that I need to grab in a hurry and just take out the door, or if I want to hang something there, I'll have a little hook thing to hang it on. And if that doesn't work out, then I'll take my little 4-inch grinder with a metal cutting blade and I'll cut them off and get them out of the way. All right, so the reason I'm starting here, the winds are blowing, and I mean, they've been doing pretty good all day, so I started in here because I'm going to head outside now and show you some of the other stuff I've been doing. Now, one of the things I did was I transferred the water from these 2 totes down to those 3 totes. So about 450 gallons total that I transferred. And all I did was disconnect the long hose that goes all the way up to the blue barrels, and I put another hose going over here to these so I could do that. Then it was just, gravity feed was too slow. So I got my transfer pump out, and the sock on there is I soaked that with water, and the lizard down there is keeping an eye on it, make sure nobody moves it. But yeah, I soaked the sock with water and put it over the top because it was a hot day yesterday, and I didn't want to overheat the pump, so I did some evaporative cooling to keep the pump cool. And then this is one of the Harbor Freight 35 amp hour batteries that everybody, well, not everybody, but some people said, oh, what a piece of junk, why buy that thing? Well, I'll tell you what, I pumped 450 gallons down there over a period of about 2 hours, and of course I don't run the pump that long because it's not a good thing for the pump, but I shut the pump off, say every 20 minutes or so. And this battery is not on any charge, it's just got the pump connected to it, so there's nothing recharging it. When I brought it out here, the battery was reading with a voltmeter. The battery was reading 13.2 volts or something like that. Okay, so when I started running the pump, it was down to 12.7, and it never went below 12.7. And then when I shut it off, shut the pump off, and walked away for 10-15 minutes, I came back, I rechecked the battery and it was back up in the 13s. So I don't care what you say about that cheap little battery. It has its purpose and it works just fine and it's inexpensive. With the 25% coupon, that was a $50 battery, and it's a service-free absorbed glass mat AGM battery, so there's no services to do with it. It won't spill if it tips over. No lead acid problems. All you got to do is just keep the top clean. All right, so let's move on down to the garden house. I want to show you, I got a new little problem going on here, and got to figure out what I'm going to do about it. But before we get over to that, you see all the fresh greenery on my compost here. That's all the pruning I did on the tomato plants today. Got those all pruned down to nice and neat so I can start producing more tomatoes. And I took some of the clippings and transferred them over. All right, so here's what I'm dealing with out here. You see the white mark on there? That's some waterproof glue. This is not a pressure hose, this is a gravity feed, so the waterproof glue holds. But I got one there. I did one there, but it didn't dry in time, so I wrapped it with electrical tape to give it a little extra support. And this is what I'm getting. Look at a little hole right there. Something chewed through the hose there. And look, here's another one right here. And that's just from yesterday till today. So overnight that happened. It's almost like somebody drilled right in. But something is chewing through those. I can't figure out if it's a field mouse or the desert squirrels or whatever. But they're chewing up my hose. That repair coupler is the first one they did. And then they had, as soon as I put the repair coupler on, the next day there was another hole right beside it. Little buggers aggravate me. All right, let's move on inside here. Hey, look at this. All trimmed down, nice and neat. Got all the extra non-essential growth. There's a sucker right there, it needs to come off. All right. So yeah, I got all the excess of, and this needs to get tied up, and I will do that pretty soon. Oh, looks like I got me a cherry tomato. Oh yeah. Delicious. That cuke's gonna come down, and I'm gonna do pickle slices with that and ferment it. Got some fresh flowers on this extra growth, and trimmed all of these down. Trimmed and thinned all of this one out, and these two over here. And as I was doing all of this, I didn't even notice until I was all done, but look, I got me a baby watermelon. So I'll be getting another watermelon out of there. This is one of the clippings that I took, and there's another one of the clippings. And yeah, they're wilted, but they usually come back. These are some I did a while back, and they're ready to prune down, take the dead stuff off of them, and get them transplanted to where they can spread their roots. This was an accident. I grabbed a hold of the wrong branch, it snipped it off, and this had so much tomatoes started on it. I decided, well, let's see if I can get that to grow. So I buried that about 2 feet of stem down onto the ground, and I put some fresh compost on it around the root area and soaked it really well. I mean, totally drenched the ground. Same thing with this one over here. Well, let's see if they take. I hope they do. All right, jalapenos going red. Well, I come out and picked a couple of them because I put those in my tonight's dinner is pot roast, and I like a little extra spice. So instead of using black pepper, I take the seeds and ribs out of the jalapenos and dice them up fine and throw those in there, and it gives you a nice added layer of flavor to the pot roast. I enjoy it. Some people don't like hot and spicy, but I do. All right, I got flowers on the cantaloupes and the watermelon over here. And then my bell peppers over here. Look, got flowers down there, but I actually have bell peppers set on this thing now. So it's doing well. That one avocado tree, I think, is going to be a good one. So I'm going to have to come up with something I can do for the winter. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take a plastic trash barrel and cut the bottom out of it so I can set it down over the top of that and have a plastic cover this to snap over the top of the thing when I close it up at night. And then I'll take some water bottles, water jugs, and fill those with water. And I'll set those down inside all the way around the plant, all the way around the tree. And those act as a water wall. So during the day, the sun will hit on the dark colored trash can, and the bottles will be all lined against the inside of it all the way around, and that'll heat up that water. And then at night, I put the cover on that trash can, and it's going to hold the heat in there so see if I can keep that avocado tree surviving through the winter. And if so, next year I'll have to come up with something else, because that thing is almost I'd say a little more than 2 feet tall now. And that grew from a seed that was just in the compost that I had from my compost pile. So that'll be an interesting one to see how that goes. All right. So moving along, I got this is the Health Kick tomatoes that got damaged way back in the beginning. And it's starting to show some tomatoes, the little baby tomatoes down on there. So I tied it up and got it up out of the way. And then that one over there, I'm not sure what that one was, but it's growing up in this pepper plant. Is taking over. It's like one of those woo-wee pods from sci-fi, but peppers everywhere. Look at this. And these are the sweet Chinese peppers. They are delicious. Well, that's the tomato plant, so I get that out of there. But yeah, I got to get some more tomato trimming done down there. But yeah, this thing is humongous. It's going crazy. The apple tree, well, I'm going to have to give that some go juice and see if I can make it happy again. It's got a little fresh growth at the top, and a couple of the branches are still showing green. Of course, this is September, and that's usually when you harvest apples, and same thing with pears. But my pears aren't ready yet, so these might go into October, and then that's when the cold weather starts. So I'm going to have to do something with this, because it will go dormant for the winter, and then hopefully it'll come back in the spring, and we'll work at it from there. All right, yeah, my string beans doing fine, climbing up over here. Got a lot of flowers on there, and I got some more cucumbers down underneath here. So I'm going to have to do some pickling. Oh, and by the way, these pepper plants that never showed any sign of budding, well, these still haven't. But the ones down there by the jalapeno plant have now got flowers on them. So who knows? Might get still something off that yet this year. All right. Just wanted to go through all of that and cover that and let you know where things stood. And I'm going to move on out. And yeah, I got another egg from the girls today. 5 chickens and 1 egg a day is not a very good count, but it's a perfect egg every time. And I mean, nice firm shell and a nice colored yolk, and well, what can I say? It's just a perfect egg and delicious. I've been eating those, and it helps supplement. When I buy one of the dozen eggs from in the town, I every now and then I get 2 eggs out of here every 2 days, so I'll throw in a batch of my own. Okay, that's about it. I'm going to get inside and get this posted and move on down the line. I'm not going to get into the solar and that stuff today. I got a couple of guys that are driving me crazy with wiring sizes and all of that, and telling me that my system doesn't work. And there's no way in the world that the wires I have are producing the electricity that I've been producing. But this is upside down. But let's see. Well, there's it. There it is right there. 18 million. Oh, that's hours. Okay, let's go to the kilowatt hours. 1,954,506 kilowatt hours produced at a total cost of zero. And I've been powering my homestead, my power tools, my bedroom air conditioner, my refrigerator, my electric stove, my microwave, my ceiling fans, you name it. It's all been running off a system that just can't work. So remember that, people. My system does not work. The wires are too small. And I don't want to start another argument on this, but they're telling me that 12 volt and the amount of wattage and all of that, I got to have number 2 wire. I have never seen a solar panel, even the 300 and 400 watt solar panels that are out there, do not have number 2 wires coming off of them, okay? The number 2 wire would be required on the load side of the circuit, not on the battery charging side of the circuit. And to explain that very simply, take a battery charger for your car. You've got a 50 amp or a 75 amp jump start switch on there where you can switch it over and put 12 volts, 75 amps or 50 amps, 55 amps straight to the battery so you can crank the engine over. And look at the little wires with the little alligator clips that come out of that battery charger. All right, so take that into consideration when you tell me that the wiring size doesn't work. I got a 1685 watt turbine up there that's feeding power down into here, and I've seen it on the gauge. I've seen it produce, let's see, 936 watts. And that's coming in on 10 gauge wire. And why 10 gauge wire? Well, that's what the manufacturer recommended. 10 gauge wire for the distance that I was running that wiring system. All right, so maybe I need number 2 wire on that too, right? All right, G Bear signing off.